honey love? What's up, girl? What's up, little honey love? I see you. What you doing, Red Sonia? What's up, Sonia? Fat Mama Sonia. What's up, Fat Mama Sonia? What's up, Fat Mama Sonia? What's up, Mayday? Lord Mayday. What's up, boy? What's up, Lord Mayday? What's up, my boy Doc? What you say, Doc? What you say, Doc? What you say, Doc? It's my big boy, Doc. What you say?
All right. 78 Sports TV here, back with another exclusive interview with a very special guest here. We have in the building Lil Rock from Grand Devastation. How are you doing today, brother?
Oh, I'm doing super fantastic. God is good. I'm blessed. I'm humbled. I'm humbled to be here, dude. I mean, I'm super humbled to be here. Thank you very much.
Brother, I appreciate you being here, and I thank you so much for your time. You know, it's always an honor and a privilege to talk to any legends, any OGs, the people who came before us, and we can learn from. You know, so I'm humbled to be able to have this opportunity to speak to you, sir.
Yeah, I wouldn't call myself a legend or any of that. I'm just humbled just to be here. I appreciate any accolades you give, but thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Let's start off with you know, how you got into the dogs. Introduce yourself to the people. You know, how'd you get into the dogs? What year, about years and things like that?
This was the first part of when I got into the dogs was there was a store called Past Pets, and they sold all kind of pets. And you know, you go in there and they have the dogs in the cages, but they also had books that you know that you could read. But you know, and for the breeds of dogs, and they had one. I'd never seen a pit bull in my life. Never seen one, and Richard Stratton's book was there, and I looked at it, and I just kind of liked it, and I asked my dad, I was 13 years old, I asked my dad, could I have it? And he said, yeah, I think the book was $8, something like that, and we got the book, and I was reading it, my dad even read the book, and in that book, it had, if you remember that, back when you dialed 411 and just asked for a guy in the city they was in,
right?
We called Don Mayfield, whose name and the city he was in the book. And called Don Mayfield. So actually I was 12. For my 13th birthday, my daddy bought me a dog from Don Mayfield. And that was the first pit bull I'd ever seen. I'd never even seen one. But after reading that book, you know, I wanted one. And I got one. It was the first one in person that I ever seen. And it came from Don.
Okay. About what year was this, if you remember?
I was 13. I was born in 68, so 83. I mean, excuse me. I could be off, but my number
early 80s.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And what bloodlines did you have when you finally did get the dog besides Don Mayfield? Like what other bloodlines did you have?
Well, you know, I ran a lot of the Ricky Jones stuff, the My Man's Homer stuff.
Right.
I loved it, and I was a big Jeep fan. I was a super big Jeep fan. I kind of, as you get older in the dogs, which you probably progress to that. So as you get older, I think I learned more about dogs when I got out of the game than I knew when I was actually in the game. But yeah, I started out with Jeep, Homer, that type of stuff. The southern bred dogs.
Right. Okay. And did you like what characteristics about those dogs are the dogs that did you like? What stood out about those dogs?
The thing about the Jeep dogs, they were very athletic. Mine. I'm not saying all. The stuff that we had off of Rebel Kennel's Turtle, they had a bad sign of mating while when you showed them. And it's really odd because like when you get them in shape and get all of this going together, and I guess it was the females as well as the males. The females would go out and turn their butt to the other dog, and so that was a turn right off the bat.
Right.
But if something bit them, it was all she wrote. So you know, I mean, but they would go out. They would go out and you have to watch the ones because we have to call really hard, because if you go out and you're not mouthing a dog, you know, just turning your butt to them, even though they were game, you couldn't stop them. You couldn't stop them. But a lot of times you have to really look at them really hard, because they would just go into this mating ritual, and it was horrible. And you knew you had a game hard biting, a really good dog. But when we were running like 20 times honey bunch, and so
Right.
those bad characteristics were coming out through the turtle dogs from Rebel Kennels. But now the Homer dogs were totally different. The stuff that we had from Mountain Man Homer.
Right.
And this is not weed. This is just.
It's all good.
No. Well, I mean, no, because I mean, people. I mean, I got nothing against people who do it, but I mean, I'm just letting you know this is what it is. The
Homer dogs.
The Homer dogs were. This is one thing that I loved about them. You could roll them one time. I'm not saying you could take them out. I'm saying, but you could roll them one time, and I mean, once you got them on, then you roll them again after that, and you knew right then what the goods were. They were either good or they were bad. They were either good or bad, and we made that cross with my Jeep dogs with that Homer stuff, and I think we did really well. I think we did really well. Back then, you got to remember, this was close to the time that I was about to get out of dogs, not voluntarily, but I think that was the time that I had my the best stuff we ever had, which I got from the Homer dog I had was Billy, made ROM. He was, and I think, great dog men had dogs off of him that made him ROM. Freddie Bowlings, Bobby Holland, Lee Larson, that had Redhead. I mean, and Betty Larson had another one. So, I mean, we did really good with that stuff.
Okay. And who would you say some of your favorite dogs you ever owned?
Wow, that's pretty easy to say, because would be Whittington's Billy, which was Billy dog I'm talking about. He made ROM. His half sister, I don't know if you know who Whittington's Bo was.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the journal. His sister, which I got, Ken Allen had one too with her. He wouldn't sell it to me, but when he died, I got her. She was a really great dog. My Peanut dog, my Chiclet bitch that we won. God dang, how many did we win with her? I think I know we won 4 with her. We won 6 with Peanut, the bitch that I got from, but the bitch that I got from Mayfield, my first bitch, we won 6 with her.
Wow.
Because, the reason we won 6 with her because I was boxing, and that's 5 miles a day in the morning before school. And it's 5 miles after. And she was a little bitch, dude. And she was a foul fighter. She fight, she get in between your legs, and dogs piss, whatever. And we went into the best competition that we knew that was down here, and I was in shape. She was in shape. I see a lot of keeps where a lot of guys, they look at 10 miles a day. Good God.
Right.
That's a lot. But back then, 10 miles a day was, for me was a norm. It just wasn't that hard. You 13 to 16 and you're boxing. And I would take her to camp also. I would take her to camp. And then at that point, I was boxing for Lou Armstrong. And we would also go and train at the PAL here in Nashville. And I mean, as long as she was going to be fine, that was fine with her. And she almost became the camp dog, but I couldn't. It was the police athletic league. So, as I used her, I couldn't keep bringing her in there banged up. You know how that goes.
Right. And how many champions or grand champions did you have?
I never do. I never accomplished that. I never did. We took several dogs out, and ones and twos. Never. Now I'll say this: Chiclet won 4, and Pepper won 6. But you got to remember now, back then. Now, let me get with this. Back then, when we were doing dogs with Pepper, I don't know if you know. I think I've seen some of your shows, so I know you're a boxing fan.
Yes, sir.
And do you know who Billy Collins was?
Yes, sir.
When his son lost his life
Right.
after driving DUI because he couldn't see, he couldn't box anymore. What Billy Collins was, if you see back in the 50s and 60s, I mean, he was a major dog fighter, and I was going into those guys, but those guys were crooks. Those guys would give me journals, but they're like, you can never report on this stuff. So I was beating these guys back to back to back, but I could never report it in the journal, even though I had them. You can't. Somebody's got to sponsor you and all of that.
Right.
Which was at the end of the day, I got to know Jack Kelly, and after me and Jack became friends, I was like, dude, if I just send, at the end of the day, I could have just sent Jack a check. I would have got a magazine. We weren't sending them in. But I think my Duke dog, which was a dog that is crazy because I was coming home from work, and my dad owned one of the most famous restaurants here in Nashville. It was called the Stockyard Restaurant. That's where all the stars went after their performances and all of that. All the country music stars.
Right.
When I was in Nashville. Right now, I'm in the Port of Spain, Trinidad. But what was I at? I forgot.
You talking about the restaurant, your father's restaurant, and that how all the stars used to come there. Before that, you were talking about the journal and Jack Kelly and all them.
So I couldn't report matches. Of course, they didn't want to. Who wanted to say this? This is the way they did me, man. I was a black kid, and nobody here in Nashville. They were running Covino, Wises, Maximilian, that kind of stuff. But these guys were big time gamblers and big time crooks. And I'm running this nigger blood, and that's the way they address me. Here's that nigger. Wow. With that nigger blood. So like, dude, should I like this bloodline or what? Maybe I don't like Don Mayfield anymore. But check this out. When I went, I think I did my second one was into he's dead now. It was against Billy Collins, but it was with I can't think of his name, but you'll know it if I said it. But we went into him, and Billy Collins said, man, the only way you're going to beat this guy. Well, actually, no, it was Tommy Sweeney that told me. He said, man, the only way you're going to beat this guy, because I didn't know they were all in against me. Remember, I was the only black guy here in Nashville with dogs.
Right.
He said, the only way you're going to beat him is, man, you got to feed your dog. Because we condition on the road, period. If we came in, we came in, dude. If we locked in and you want to go into us, we went into us, whatever. And because they didn't even consider me competition. And Sweeney said, man, they said the only way, Sweeney told me the only way you're going to beat them, you're going to have to feed that little bitch 7 pounds of dog food. This is no lie. I could not lie.
Wow.
People been write this in books and all of this, but this is the absolute truth. He said the only way you're going to beat them is you got to feed your dog the match day 7 pounds of dog food. 7 pounds of dog food. I'm like, wow. So I took Pepper. So I took Pepper, and I'm feeding her all day. I got this big bag of Yukonuba, and I'm feeding, because Yukonuba was a thing, back then.
Right.
So I'm feeding this big bag of Yukonuba. She ate like maybe 2 pounds. And we get to the show. She's in the car farting, there's gas, and she's bloated like a little watermelon. I'm like, so we get to the match, and I see Billy Collins and Sweeney and man, I can't think of this crook's name because he was a crook. Golly, everybody knows him. Anyway, we get there and I walk over to Sweeney and Collins and I said, hey man, we're gonna have to forfeit. He said, why? And I walk into my van. I said, this bitch can't eat another bite. Look at her. She's fat as a melon. I said, I guess I didn't make it. So, you know, but I was young. You feel me?
Right.
I was young. So he goes over to them and he comes back to me and they say, yeah, you know what? You'll be okay. You'll be okay. We'll go ahead and go through it. So I walked, it had to be, it was a while because they had some other shows going on. And I walked Pepper around for, I guess, we didn't have anything. Did we walk around for like maybe 3 hours? 3 hours and she out. And we stopped that bitch in 7 minutes.
Woo.
We got right between her legs, just like always. And Pepper was a dog, man, that I, you know, being young, you know, I wrote the heck out of it. So she was smart and she knew where she wanted to be and how to get there. She was smart and she could grab a dog by the ear and move him this way and hit straight into where she wanted to be. She knew how to set up her moves.
Right.
You know, she was a very smart dog. Very smart.
Tactician, huh?
And I don't really even know, you know, if she had a hard mouth. She never really showed a hard mouth in her roles as far as doing damage and opening up gashes and stuff. I mean, she would, you know, you get the, you know, occasional cuts, this, that, and other. But I don't know if she's just very smart and very tactical.
Right.
And from that point, you know, I didn't really care because, you know, we went into a few guys that had hard mouth dogs, but she was just smart and just knew what to do. And I could watch her. I knew when to turn her off. I knew because I could point. You know, she was raised in the house with me. I could point to something. She'd go right there, whether it be the elbow. That was another thing of hers. She would hit that elbow, which you don't hear a lot of dogs do. But she would hit that elbow and work it, and then boom, straight in between the legs. She was amazing. And when she would hit the legs like in the 69 position and switch and like turn the vagina when she switched, and boy, dog would piss, whatever. It's like she's like wringing out a rag. You feel me?
Right.
And I've never seen that from a bitch since.
Wow. And what were some of the best dogs you've seen that you didn't own?
Man, you know what? I hate to say this, but he was. I watched what was his name? Eli Taylor had beat the dog of the year. Was it Nuki or what was his name? He was a cover dog in a journal. Eli Taylor had that dog off of Walker's T-Boy.
Mm-hmm.
You remember his name? I can't remember his name.
It might come back during the story.
Dog, really famous dog. Golly, I can't believe I can't think of his name. He was, oh my God, he was really, golly, what is his name? Can't believe I can't remember it. He was a face dog, and he went into he was also going Eli Taylor Vietnam Kennels. They were going into a dog from Billy Collins. I think we went to see the show. I think we went to I think was it Illinois, or we either went to Illinois or wherever it was at. But this dog, man, it was a Ronald Boyle's dog, and man, he would hack that face, and he literally unmasked this dog all the way up to his eyeballs. And he was the hardest scratching dog, top 3 hardest scratching dogs I ever seen. I can't think of his name. Oh my God, he's a famous dog. I mean, everybody knows who he is.
Oh shit, he'll come. Somebody in the chat when I post this will remember, and he'll come back.
Yeah. The best bitch. I ever seen was probably mine. The 2-time winner that I got from Ken Island, and I took her back out. I'll say another really good bitch. I got a really good bitch from Schoolboy. She was already a 2-time winner when I got her.
Right.
Roxy, and we got Roxy, and me and my partner, one partner paid for her, and we had a little dispute. And I was like, you know what? You like that bitch so much. I got a forfeit on my. I had a bitch off of Townsend's Red Rover. I had a really hard biting, nice looking black bitch off of that. We got a forfeit from her. I said, man, bring that old Roxy bitch out. And I told Schoolboy maybe 15 years ago that we rode into that Roxy dog, and she looked good, but I didn't tell him it was that bitch destroyed my bitch. Awesome.
Damn.
Well, so I guess Schoolboy know it now.
Right.
He knows the bitch because he won 2 with her, and we bought her. We bought her from him. And I told her, I said, man, she looked off for a good in a row, but I didn't tell him what really happened.
Right.
I had a match bitch. And man, good gracious alive. She was really, and I didn't think that, out of the Schoolboy blood, I didn't think that blood was biting like that. I didn't have any idea. And I think she was rare out of that also. I don't think Schoolboy promotes that stuff as really hard biting stuff. I've seen some of the interviews that he did with you guys. So I don't think he promotes it. And I think I watched one today where he says you got to go back to the Eli line to get it. And I agree with that, which I do that also, but I go back to the RASCAL line.
Right, right. Let me ask you, from your experience, and your knowledge of the dogs, how prevalent is paper hanging in the breed?
Well, I think we talked about this a little earlier. I'm not gonna badmouth anybody. That's
right, absolutely right.
That's not my way. So without saying any names, I think it's very prevalent. I think it's about as prevalent as it's always been. I think it's always been prevalent.
Right. Okay. Would you say it was in your day? How did you guys deal with paper hanging? Did you really care?
No. Well, go ahead and finish because I really want to hear it.
Well, the question was, did you guys deal with it like, hey, I don't know if the dog is really bred like this, but I know I'm getting it from this dog, man. He a good dog, man, so I'm gonna work with this dog. Or did it bother you if you found out, or rumors, hey, man, that dog ain't bred like that? Did that bother y'all?
The only guy, and I don't mind mentioning his name because of his reputation, that I know one was hanged against me was Jerry. And
who's that?
Harris Jerry.
Okay.
He hung some papers on something. He hung what happened was he hung some papers on the dog, and then I ended up getting one off of the dog. He said, man, the dog ain't bred that. So
right.
I mean, he was honest with me, but he wasn't honest with the guy that he got the dog from. I don't think it was man, unless you catch somebody, how do you know? I dealt with I was blessed enough to always be nice and always deal with dogmen with reputations that I wouldn't just buy a dog from anybody, so it wasn't that big a thing back then. It was no bigger back then than it is now. I think now people are looking for the money. I've never sold a dog in my life, ever. Never sold a dog. I've given hundreds away,
right.
Especially, of course, when I went away. I didn't want to leave my old lady, with the animals. But I never had a problem with. Only time I knew I had a problem was I was at a show at Boy McCormick's, and Harris Jerry told me, he said, man, that dog you got off with your boy. He said, I ain't bred the West. I said, how you know? He said, because I bred him, you know. So
Right. And
I don't understand with that.
right. And have you ever? What's your experience with cheating in matches? Have you ever been cheated in a
Oh
match?
my God, man, I've got cheated. You know, like I was saying, man. You know, and I swear to God, man, I don't mean this in a bad way at all, because that's not my way. But I will, you know, Billy Collins and the guy that I was trying to that I was saying I couldn't remember his name was Buford Adams.
Okay.
Those guys were the biggest cheaters. They cheated me. They tried to cheat me every which way, but they cheated everyone. And with those guys, dude, win if you must, but always cheat. I mean, those guys really cheated, and McNasty was a cheat. And I don't care who take it the wrong way. I knew Nasty well. You know, we were friends, but McNasty was a cheat. You know, he rubbed going against my good friend from Heavy Equipment Combine. He rubbed Panda. Panda was a 4-time winner. Got her out in 8 minutes. You know, I mean, cheating to me, I grew up around cheating, and it's almost unbelievable because, you know, I sold drugs and this and that. It was almost unbelievable that I didn't cheat, but I just never saw a reason. I was winning so easily, you know, against people who didn't take me serious, that there was just no reason to. You know,
Right.
I'm not saying I won every show or I went into, because I didn't always go into like big competition, because I didn't know what big competition was. By the time I found out what big competition was, and I was writing for the Journal in '86, I was out. I was going away. You know, I did the interview with Ricky Jones from prison, from Rebel Criminals. But dude, after that, you know, I was on the run then. Then
Right.
after that, when I got out, you know, I had my kids, and you know, I got my kids from my old lady, and man, I became a single parent for 16 years, and I stopped cursing. I said, you know what? You got to do the right thing, Rock. You got to do the right thing.
Right.
And the dogs wasn't part of it. And, you know, cheating was never, you know, one thing I was going to say, you know, Billy Collins, like I said, they were always cheaters. And one thing was, and I hate to say, I don't even know if I should say it, but I just will, because if you know the story, which you do, behind his son being cheated in the
Right.
ring
With Louis Resto.
with Louis Rutt. Exactly. And Panama Lewis being his manager, which did the cheating, you know, things come around and do. I mean, it hits you hard when it's your kid.
Mm-hmm.
But he cheated his whole life, and he raised his kid up like a dog. I
Right.
mean, he loved the crap out of him, but he raised him like a dog. I mean, like a bulldog. Let me put it like that.
Right.
Raised him like a bulldog. Don't never quit. This another. If little Billy would have quit, you know, during that fight, it might have saved. You know, might have saved his sight. Maybe he would have been able to fight a little bit longer. But the fact that you know, I can't quit in front of my dad. But dude, this guy, did you see him after the fight?
Yeah. Both eyes closed, swole.
Yeah. Dude, it was horrible. So, you know, sometimes, you know, the roosters come back to the nest, or the hens come back, or the chickens come back, like Malcolm X said, they come back to roost or whatever.
Yeah. Most definitely.
I
And
know I probably hadn't thought about that, but you know, this guy's been a cheater all his life, and he's in boxing. And I have no doubt that Billy would have cheated in boxing. I have no doubt about that. He got beat to the punch.
right. Okay. And let's talk about the journal. It's been how prevalent was lying, false reports and stuff like that. You know, people said that, you know, back in the day, it was so many matches reported that were they were falsely reported, and some of these matches was rolls, and it was counted as a win and stuff like that. How prevalent was that?
Well, you know, I would talk with Jack, you know, because, you know, me and Jack was really good, and I think it was very prevalent. It was, but Jack didn't care. Jack didn't care. As many match reports as we could get, he didn't care. He didn't research that stuff, and it was very prevalent. I think even you know who Shady Lady is, right?
Yes, sir.
If you look at that match that she had with Al Mooney, that was off the chain. The one of her matches, the other person paid a forfeit, and then Moody just brought one in. So she wasn't really, and that's one of my favorite dogs of all time. So, but I mean, just being honest, you're asking.
Right.
So that was off the chain. I think it lasted 6 minutes or something like that. And Shady Lady was one of those dogs, just like my Pepper dog. She hit you between your legs, buddy, and that's it. She was a foul dog. That was it. That was it.
Oh wait, yeah, and the worst ones to see.
I mean, yeah, but you got to get there.
Yeah, most definitely.
You got to be smart. You can't take an animal that you've looked at. You looked at her first, right? Now, you game test her and put her in with that kind of style. A dog with that kind of style has to be looked at severely hard.
Mm-hmm.
They got to have they've got to know a way in and know a way to attack. A dog like that, because like I said, my Pepper dog didn't have a whole lot of mouth, but she was smart. Well, look at that bitch, man. Good God. You know, and Ricky with Shady Lady, he 3-dogged her. And then he started her because I mean she was making a mess out of everything, and then he started looking at her. You feel me?
Right.
How bad she was. So you know.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And what would you say? What was the most competitive match you ever seen?
Oh my God! I got to give all props to my mentor. I don't know I don't know how educated you are in this. I don't know if you know who Freddie Bowlings is.
Yes, sir.
He was my mentor, and he was going to a good friend of mine, which I bought a great bitch from. I bought this 6-pack bitch from Darren Tupper, and this was a 1-match show, and there was Tupper's Jenny going into Freddie Bowling's champion Terry. I think they were both champions, or they're both going for their championship. And you know, it won a lot of people. So they Freddie Bowling's and Tupper, they asked me to referee. And man, that freaking Jenny bitch she was the grandmother of grand champion Freebie. I don't know if you know who Freebie is. Tupper's grand. Yeah, which was probably the most phenomenal dog. But I refereed that match, and Jenny had the bitch jump in the box, but she was holding on to her, so the bitch couldn't get out. And at 2, Tupper lost in like 2-10, dead game, to a bitch that was jumping the box in 10.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, you know, I watched both dogs, and Freddie Bowlers told me, he said, when you watch his dog, never had a guy tell me this. He said, only wash her head. So don't wash nothing. I don't care if he didn't care if she was rubbed or what. Only wash her head and don't get anything in her ears. So I washed this bitch's head, and she didn't bite anything but. She was an absolutely phenomenal head dog that didn't bite anything but. She killed her on the head.
Damn.
Yeah. But I mean, it was 2 hours. I think Tupper's dog died more of exhaustion, but you know, it was just. I mean, it was just, man. It was. She knew. This dog knew to don't let Tupper's dog bite you again. She stayed. It was just a work of art. It was. If Tornado had done it, Tornado was not the head dog. She was a phenomenal dog, but she wasn't the head dog. Now, Tornado had mouth and all of that, but she wasn't that. This dog was an ace on the head. I can't say an all-around ace, but an ace on the head. And I really can't say an all-around ace because she was trying to leave early.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And speaking of mentors, you mentioned one, but how important are mentors? And did you have any more in your years?
Well, you know, when I told Mayfield, and this is a funny story too. When I told Mayfield about how they were treating me, this, that, and other, he kind of helped me out, and he sent me a keep, which I lost, man, maybe 20 years ago. I wish I'd have kept it. He sent me a keep, and you know, don't go by what these guys are saying. And the only reason he cared was because I had his dog.
Right.
But later on, I said I wanted another one, and he asked me for Mayfield asked me for a pound of this good old Tennessee weed, and I told my dad because I was a kid. I told my dad, and my dad said you can't talk to him again. And I respect my dad to the fullest. I love him to the fullest, and so I didn't. But he sent me a keep. I would have to say Freddie Bowling's. And I would have to give credit to the guys that cheated me and whooped me. I mean, I don't know if you call them a mentor, but I learned a lot from those guys.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that wrong and did it illegally, I learned a lot from those guys. I learned what to look for in the signs, you know,
Right.
things like that. One time I was going into, or again, Billy Collins, and we went into his garage. And his garage, the light was on, and you know, you hang a dog on a scale, and the light went out. So what he did was he shined the light on the number. You couldn't see anything else, but the dog hanging on the scale, and the light was shining on the number for the weight.
Right.
And then we had it almost even. You know, the dog moves around the scale, it's going up and down, going up and down. So we see the weight, and then the scale jumped. What happened? He gave our dog a shot in the dark. We were all in the dark. It was planned out, and our dog went to sleep doing the show.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
All the time we went into him, and the lights went out. The lights were notorious for going out of his place, and all we heard was a big boom, and of course our dog's leg was broke.
Wow.
Lights come on. Our dog's freaking leg is broke. The crap. Come on, man. You know, we didn't win them all, but I mean, but I learned a lot from that. And I learned what not to do. And I learned, you know, when we beat those guys, dude, they were anything but humble. I had to be a nigger. You know, I mean, I had to be. And back then, it didn't bother me. You know, looking back on, you know, being called a nigger, and you know, dude, I was so happy it went. I don't care what you call me. I beat you guys again. And you know, and it's this nigga with that nigga that we're gonna beat him. You know, that kind of stuff. You know, it didn't bother me. You know, racism in dogs is, I don't understand why people, dog men or political people, we're not gonna get into politics, but I don't understand why they don't see the plight of the black man, period.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'm a good guy, dude. I ain't gonna treat nobody, dude. I'm mixed, so I got family, you know, black and white. But I'm not ignorant. I see how some of my white family gets along with some of their white friends, and they're not the best. And I see how some of my black family members get along with black people, and they talk different. Dude, I'm gonna be, first off, I might use the N-word talking to my brothers or whatever, but I'm not gonna be disrespectful to anybody. If everybody say, hey man, don't use it around, cool. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
But dude, I caught the consummate end of racism when I started in dogs as being the only black man with running the nigger bloodline. You know, it was ironic. So, you know, they put it together. It was kind of rough.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, we talk about that a lot. You know, I mean, a lot of people are in denial. You know, a lot of these guys, legendary dog men and stuff like that, people romanticize them, but they don't want to tell that side of these guys' history. A lot of them was definitely racist. You know what I mean? A lot of them, They didn't want to sell black people no good dogs.
Yeah, I won't because I know a lot of them now, and I won't just throw their names out there. Dude, I would so much like to throw one out there, but I won't. I want to kick them off my page, and I've been openly, I left alone 2 years ago, through meditation and try to meditate on being a positive person. So, but good gracious, man, it's horrible. It's horrible. But at the end of the day, this is what it is. It's the same thing with politics. People are going to think what they want to think. If you want to think this, that's what you're going to think. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
If you didn't want to think this, you wouldn't. You would know. I mean, Mother Goose will teach you. I mean, it's there. But if you want to think it, then you're going to be headstrong on it. And you're going to be unmoving on it, and unwavering. Dude, I love everybody. Dude, I don't know anybody who doesn't like me. And excuse me, let me be humble and tell you that I'm not being braggadocious and none of that.
Right.
I've never cost anybody, never sold anybody a dog, or never given anybody a reason to say, dude, I hate Little Rock. Ugh. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've always been nice to everybody. I was born Catholic, and I was born religious, but right now at this point I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual, because I think the religions are a trick. The church is made up all of this. That's just me.
Right.
But I'm spiritual, and being spiritual, a spiritual being, I've got to want you to be well, because that's the only way we further humanity, is to look out for each other.
Yes, sir. Indeed. Well said. And what would you say the most important attribute for a dog to have is?
A good owner.
Amen at that.
But let me delve into this before we get into the 4 traits, or the 5 most important traits. Because I seriously think, me and Rasta was talking about this the other night, because he's gonna pick up a bitch for me, and I brought this up on Facebook maybe 2 years ago, and me and Tupper really discussed it live, because people weren't getting this. People weren't getting it. People don't want to change, blah blah blah. They'll come on fast, this, that, and other. But my thing is, spirituality with these dogs, I think is very important. You gotta be that dog's best friend. You gotta deep down. That's why I wouldn't even lie. I would give a cur away. Dude, I couldn't put one down, because I got to know him so good, and I got to have that bond with him. If that makes any sense.
Uh-huh.
It's terribly hard for me to look in a dog's eye and put them down, and I would give them to a friend or whatever. Looking at a dog, knowing a dog, living with a dog, having a dog in the bed with you, through the keep, having that spiritual bond, actually loving that dog. You can't kill. To me, I can't kill anything I love. I think that goes against, everybody calls. People who raise poodles, raise shepherds. You get a poodle that's supposed to be chocolate brown. They got a spot. You got a color. Right. You feel me? But dude, I just don't have to. That to me, I've done it, but at a certain point, dude, I see people, man, brag about plugging one in. Right. Then you didn't know that dog, dude. It's hard. It's hard. Dude, I do that. I put one down and cried. Right. Like, dude, I can't do that anymore. I can't do that anymore. I'll find someone to give it to. I won't give them no papers or nothing like that. But right. they won't. But dude, that man, good gracious, dude, you almost got a tear coming out of my eye now.
Yeah, I understand.
Because I mean, like I said, I'm a spiritual person, and I get to know my dog well. And dude, that's just you can't ask that of me to put one down.
Right.
I know he's a punk. You feel me? But
right.
Dude, I put down 16 in one day off of Diablo Sam. They were all curves. 16 off of Diablo 7 one day when I was going away. That was 16 months old, but they were all curves. I put them all down. I wanted to check them, and I was going to send them, you know, to some people. It turned out all of them were curved. So,
right, yeah, I understand, brother. Definitely understand. And you know, but you know, culling, it's different forms of culling. You just removed them from your program. You know what I mean? You know, putting them down ain't the only way to cull them. You know.
Right. It just, I'm just not that guy. You can call me a punk or, you know, dog man or whatever.
Nah, I don't see it that way. Not at all.
Done it, and it hurt so bad that I just didn't want to do it. You know, build that personal bond with a dog, and then they do something that to them they weren't. I mean, they didn't know they were going to be a cur. I mean, they were just born. Now I got to put it on your head. You know, I mean, that was no. You know, like I said, a lot of people brag about it. I put one down and man, all that. You know, when folks say that, I'm like, you know, you got to do what you got to do, but you ain't got to brag about it. There's nothing braggadocious about that. If you love your dog, how you gonna brag about it?
Yeah, some people, that's a lot. What you're doing is a lot better than what some people do. Some people put their dogs down by changing his name and keep breeding them.
Man, come on, dude. There you go. Yeah. But like I said, the ones that you know, once it comes time to me to look at one hard and check one hard, dude, that dog is gonna be in the bed with me. That dog is gonna be, you know, because we didn't keep, you know, I never kept over 30 dogs, but you know, that dog is gonna be in the bed with me. I'm gonna make sure I'm not cheating him in any kind of way. And then once you develop that bond with a dog, dude, I'm not shooting him in the head. I'm not plugging him in. I can't do it. I mean, like I said, a lot of guys will be like, "Man, you know, dog, man, call me what you want. How would you like for somebody to put you in a boxing ring prematurely, and you don't do well, and you're just getting thumped and thumped and thumped? You're like, dude, I had enough of this. Okay, we're gonna plug you in. We're gonna shoot your head. You know, maybe you wasn't bred for it, but dude, come on. This dog obviously wasn't bred for it either because he quit.
Right, indeed.
Anyway, you know.
Yes,
anyway,
sir.
That's just a point that, you know, I just and I never a few times, you know, I will leave a show and I will leave my animal with somebody to put down. You know, I just was very bad on doing that.
Yes, sir. And brother, Lil Rock, I want to thank you so much for your time, man. You have a beautiful spirit, man. Beautiful spirit, man. This is a very comfortable interview for me, man. And you know, I really enjoyed this conversation, man. I love your energy, man. I really do, man. And I'd love to talk to you again, man.
Oh man, definitely, man. Call me anytime. I'd like to be on one of the other platforms with some of the other guys.
Yes, sir.
I know the other guys that you normally have on there. I know most of them. And dude, I mean, I love your program. I think I went back and liked all your shows.
Hey, that's what's up.
Because I want to be ready. You know what I'm saying? I want to be ready to go on. So I want to, you know, look for whatever you may be expecting or whatever. And I want to be respectful. And I want, you know, I want to come across well. You know, and I want to be, most importantly, try to be as humble as I can and come across, you know, with a good interview for you.
Hey, I really appreciate this, brother. And I tell you what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stay in contact with you, and definitely we're gonna get you on one of these panels that we got coming up. And yes, sir.
That's what I really like to look forward to. And I mean, any of the guys that you have on the panels, I think they know me, and I don't think anybody will have any. I don't think anybody ever have anything negative to say about me. I don't think so.
That's right. That's right. All right, brother. Once again, thank you for your time. Great interview, and I'll stay in contact with you, brother.
Hey, man, God bless you, man. And may you all do well and bless you and your family members and the viewers in the future when you guys get to see this. God bless you, and may you all stay blessed. Thank you.
Indeed.